Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about The Fly by Katherine Mansfield. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. All right, so The Fly by Katherine Mansfield. Very interesting work here. Very interesting short story. Very sad. Basically, you have this guy. He recently had a stroke. His name is Woody Field. His wife and daughters, they don't really let him go into the city that much because he had a stroke. So they're trying to really take care of their father and husband, of course. And they're like, don't go into the city. You can go once a week. Not too much, right? And so Woody Field, he goes to see his boss. He has these, like, I guess, meetings with his boss. We don't get the name of the boss here. It's just Woody Field is talking to the boss, and the boss, he's older, 5 years older than Woody Field, but he thinks he's better than Woody Field. And I guess if you're looking at it from a financial, who's more successful standpoint, of course the boss. I mean, he is the boss after all. But the boss looks younger. He looks more rosy, more plump. While Rudy Field, although he's younger than the boss, he looks more old and disheveled. He even has a little bit of trouble remembering this thing that he wanted to tell the boss within the short story here. And what he had trouble remembering is that so the boss's son, he died in World War I, and Woody Field's daughters saw the son's grave while they were on vacation. And basically, Woody Field says, "Okay, my daughter saw your son's grave, and I wanted to tell you that the grave is being well taken care of." Now, I don't think Woody Field says this out of spite or he wants to get back at his boss. I think he was just making polite conversation. But for the boss, this information just really just it just walloped him, right? It just just really demolished him. He has a little twitch of the eye here, and Woody Field leaves because he can see the well, the atmosphere changes within the short story because when you're having a conversation with someone and you struck a nerve, sometimes in their demeanor you can see it that what you just said really hits them in their sensibilities, and it hurts. It's like a conversation, something that you bring up that really hurts the emotions, and so the boss gets in his feelings. Moodyfield leaves, and the second part of the short story, we can say, the boss really starts to break down a little bit. Now he's not going crazy, but he tells his secretary, his help, to leave him alone for 30 minutes. And we kind of get the background that the boss wanted to build his company, make it successful. He wanted to build it up to something great and then grow it with his son, and then ultimately give the company over to his son. But his son dies in World War I, and now he's, like, getting older, possibly going to die one day, and he has no heir to his throne of the company. So it's very sad here. So all of his success, all of his money, it's kind of like null and void in of a sense, because when you don't have a legacy, you kind of feel like, well, although you're successful, you have money, you can have, whatever you want in the world. When you think that all you've worked for is just going to be given to some type of stranger when you die, it does hurt you because, humans, we want to feel like we're building something, like generational wealth, or, I'm building a family line, or, I'm building something that will last past my death. Having kids is a way to live forever, because a part of you will survive in your children. But if your children dies before you die and they don't have kids before they die, well, then that's it. That's the end of you. It's like another death if you think about it. Because a lot of people who have kids, there's that kind of like comfort of knowing that, well, I'll live in the next generation through my son, right? But when you don't have an heir to go into the next generation, it kind of feels like you're gonna die and then your legacy is gonna die. So it's a very deep emotion. What happens next is that there's a fly that comes in. The fly falls into this ink pot, and the boss takes the fly out, put the fly onto a piece of paper, and then he, drops three, you know, drops of ink on the fly each time, not all at once, one, two, three. Every time he does it, the first time the fly, after he takes the fly out of the pot of ink, the fly cleans itself off. Then the boss watches this. Then he drops the ink on it. The fly cleans itself off. And then the second time, the fly is a little weak. Then the third time, the fly, it's just too much, and the fly dies. And then, the boss can't remember what he was thinking before the fly. So the fly is like this thing while he's taking this 30 minutes to think about life and think about his son and think about how the comments of Woody Field affected him. This fly comes in, and the fly distracts him to the point where he forgot what he was distracted. What got him into this. What got him into his feelings. And so, the fly here, you know, it's this war, it's resilience. It says a lot about the boss, a lot about the situation that's going on. The boss, the fly is trying to survive. It's trying to work hard to survive. It's in the animal kingdom. You have to be the best of the best. Survival of the fittest to survive. And the fly, it's trying to so hard to stay alive, and the boss is just toying with him, putting these tasks, dropping ink on top of it, and the fly tries and tries and tries until it dies. And so maybe his son. I mean, there's several connections we can make in terms of deeper meaning and analysis here. There's several connections we can make to the son and the fly. I mean, is this the type of struggle that the son went through? Was he the fly that was killed at war? Does this have a connection to the boss himself? Was he always trying to work hard, work hard, work hard to be successful, and ultimately all his dreams are dead because his son died? Because the same way, the boss could be looking at himself as the fly. This is why he feels so terrified and so afraid by the end of the work, because he resembles the fly in of a sense, because he toiled and toiled and toiled and toiled to build his company, but life just kept on hitting him, wallop after wallop, hit after hit, until, well, ultimately he will die, and he has no heir, and so just like the fly, he will die too. So there's a fear and a terror of, he might be the fly on the paper, if we look at it deeply, because you can work as hard as you can, but still you're not succeeding. And the boss here, he worked really hard, he built this company, but just like the fly, life just dropped some ink on him, and he has no heir, and ultimately he will die just like the fly. So there's a piece of terror that we can look at here, that can mean several different things. That's why the story to me is very deep, because he is mourning his son, he is mourning his dreams, he is mourning his hard work, that he won't ultimately achieve his total dream of passing his company on to his son. By the end, he does forget that he was mourning about his son. He throws the fly away in the trash can. And there is no, I guess we can say there is no resolution by the end of this work, but it does leave us with a lot to think about our choices, our hard work. Is it worth all of it? And what it means to have an heir, what it means to have, or the price of family, really, because this boss, he's doing his best trying to not to remember his son and what his son meant to him, but ultimately, well, there are some things in life you just can't control. Even though he works so hard to control and to be something, there's just some things in life you can't control. Well, that's all I have to say about this work. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.